Starting April 7th on BCA, we got a new look. We have public, educational, government, and HD. Look for them all.
I'm going to call the April meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order. The board that will be voting tonight is member Steve Leanis, Fire Chief Brian Nardelli, member James Sweeney, myself, Chair Kenneth Galligan. Orlando Spinola is an alternate who will be voting tonight. And tonight we have a new alternate member that has just recently been appointed to the board, and this is her first meeting that she will be sitting in on. She will be observing the operation of the board with the exception of one case where she will be voting on one case. The building inspector, zoning enforcement officer, and clerk to the zoning board tonight is Mr. Frank Gazzaro. Our recording secretary is Monica Fragazzo. Before I start tonight's meeting, I would recognize Fire Chief Brian Nardelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to recognize and take a moment of silence for one of our members who was tragically killed last night in a motorcycle accident in the town of West Bridgewater. 35-year-old Matthew Flaherty, who has served for 10 years with the Brockton Fire Department and will be greatly missed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I would ask everyone that has a telephone or electronic device, either shut it off or put it on vibrate so it doesn't interrupt the meeting. If you need to use the phone, I would appreciate it if you go out into the hallway. Prior to the start of tonight's hearing, is there any petitioner that would like to withdraw prior to the start of the hearing? Seeing none. The format that we will use tonight is when the case is called, the petitioner will come up to the podium up here and present the case to the board. When the petitioner has finished the presentation, I will ask if any of the board members have any questions relative to the information that they just heard. If everybody is good on the board, then I will open it up for public discussion. At that point, I will ask if there is anyone here that wants to speak in favor. When that has been completed, I'll ask if there's anyone here that wants to speak in opposition. When that has been completed, I will ask if there are any elected officials that want to be heard on the issue. When that has been concluded, I will then close the public hearing. And at this point, the board then will deliberate based upon the information that has been presented. That deliberation is strictly between the board members. It is not involving the public hearing. At some point, one of the board members will make a motion to grant. Another board member will second that, and I will then call for a vote. The clerk will then call for a vote. When the vote has been completed, I will then announce what the final vote is, and I will inform you whether the petition has been granted or denied. So that's how the board meeting will go tonight. We have 6 cases tonight. And the first case coming up before us is case number 2224, the petition of Sign Design, 170 Liberty Street, Brockton, Mass, for relief from the 10-foot setback from the property line to create or to erect an electronic message board sign in a C2 zone located at 1362 Main Street. Good evening. Please identify yourself to the clerk.
Excuse me?
Please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Marie Mercier. I'm a project manager at Sign Design, filling in for Nicole. She couldn't make it here this evening. So we're here for our client, Self-Help, and they're looking to put in the electronic message board, also known as an EMC, for their business, and also regarding the setback. I think with the setback, you had said it's a 10-foot setback, but they're looking to put their sign in at 5 feet because this building is so close to the sidewalk. I think we only have 10 feet of frontage from this building. On their sign, they're just looking to put like any events coming up or any messages that they need to, you know, get out to the public on that. And that's basically all that they're looking for on this case is the EMC and the setback. I think that's all that I have.
Do you know what hours the sign will be on?
It's a 9mm board. So the power itself, they'll run a separate wire usually to these EMCs. I don't have the voltage, but I want to say it's a 120.
I was asking what hours?
Oh, what hours? Oh, I think with the, I didn't do this permit, bear with me, but I think the hours are just going to be, I know they have to shut it off by a certain time during the day. I don't think it's going to be a whole on all night long.
There is a section of our ordinance that says if the building is not occupied, the sign has to shut off.
The sign will be shut off, yeah.
I think it's 11 to 7 in the morning.
Okay. I will make sure that the client is aware.
So you're not asking for any relief on the hours for the sign?
Nope, I'm just looking for the relief to put in the sign and also the setback of the sign since we don't have a lot of frontage in the front of this building. The site plan, I think, says I got 10 foot, 5 inches to the sidewalk from the edge of the building to the front. So we're looking to put the sign in at 5 feet.
Does 5 feet cross the sidewalk?
No, it's from the edge of the property and sidewalk.
Okay,
Not from the street.
okay. Thank you.
So the one thing to keep in mind with this sign is that by industry standards, there is an intensity for the LEDs. So the intensity is different during the day than it is at night. So we would ask that you conform to industry standards as far as you would know more about that than we do. I could look it up and tell you exactly what it is, but I just want you to know that the intensity of that light at night cannot be the same as it is during the day because it gets to be blinding at night.
It'd be blind, I understand that, yes.
Okay, and the other thing that we put on here as a stipulation is it cannot be any scrolling, animation, and it can't change any sooner than once every 10 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're just basically, I don't think they're looking for flashing or anything. They're just looking to put up, if there's an event, an upcoming event, or, I know we're kind of getting out of the COVID, but let's say it was wear your mask or, you know what I mean, some messages for the public.
So we have a regular paragraph that we'll put in here that basically, I'll just tell you, it says no scrolling, animation.
Yes.
And the intensity of the lights. Those are key things for us, okay? Board members, any other questions? Everybody's good. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? If not, is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition?
I'm Bishop Bridges here, just getting in here. I apologize for being late.
Are you here for the sign?
Yeah,
Okay, could you let him just come up to the...
Sure.
Okay. Please give your name to the board and...
my name is Bishop John Bridges, the pastor of New Fellowship Christian Outreach and Deliverance Ministries Church at 28 Warren Avenue. I received this letter, I guess is in regards to putting a sign on our property at 93 Pleasant Street.
No.
No,
Oh, this is Main Street.
Main Street. Well, I guess what he's saying here is for legal greens.
No, you're
No,
too
wrong
early.
case. We haven't
Okay.
got to your case
I
yet.
haven't got to it yet. I apologize, all right? All right, God bless you, I'll be right here.
All right, very good. All right. Where was I? Anybody in favor? If not, I'll close that portion. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any public official that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. That's the end of the public discussion. I'll now open it up to the board members. Board members.
What is the closest, I guess it would be a right, and is there any obstruction with that? Coming from the right side, if you're taking a right?
Kind of hard to exactly tell. I did drive in and out of that parking lot on both sides, and it seemed clear to me.
How tall are we? Mr. Chair, if I could address the applicant again?
Yeah, go ahead.
How tall is this again?
The sign is, excuse me 1 second. Where's the, 6 below.
Sign is 24 inches.
Excuse me?
The sign itself is 24.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how long the poles are. We're putting in 4-inch steel poles, but I don't have the height of the poles. I don't think the sign's more than 5 feet tall.
Okay. And it looks like the next curb cut is at a paved driveway. Am I seeing that correctly?
There's 2 paved cut driveways on each side of this.
Yes.
Going, if 1362 is on your right, continuing north, the next curb cut is kind of what I'm referring to.
That would be the northerly curb cut?
Yes.
What about it?
So that's the paved driveway. That's the next curb cut from the sign?
From the sign,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
I went in and
that's
out
all
of both driveways, and it looked to me like if the sign was there, it wouldn't be an impediment to looking
Yeah.
north or south.
Okay.
It's not a very big sign. I would entertain a motion with
Motion to
the
grant.
stipulations of the intensity and the scrolling and the 10 seconds, usual. You want to make a motion?
Motion to grant.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to grant. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Steve Leanis,
Yes.
Yolando Spinola,
Yes.
James Sweeney,
Yes.
Chief Nardelli,
Yes.
Chairman Kenny Galligan.
Yes.
5 yes, 0 no, Chief.
The vote is 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next petition is 22-25, the petition of Barros Realty Group LLC, 103 South Laden Street, Brockton, Mass., for a variance from Article 3, Section 27-9, for relief from dimensional standards for the lot size and frontage to convert an existing one-family home to a three-family home in an R3 zone located at 35 Howard Square.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Evening.
Mr. Clerk, members of the board, Attorney John McCluskey, representing Mr. Barros tonight, and his company, the Barros Realty Group LLC. We come before you tonight seeking a variance to convert a single-family home in addition to make it a three-family, three-bedroom home on the existing property at 35 Howard Square. By way of history, this is a combination of two parcels. The gentleman that lived there for many, many years at number 35 purchased from the city approximately a much larger parcel than he had. He had about a 3,500 square foot lot and a single-family home located on the lot. And he purchased from the city under a program to combine parcels another 6,500 square feet. So he has probably a total of just over 10,500 square feet. I think it's 10,501 square feet. He has, with the combined parcels, 87 feet of frontage. In an R3 zone, and the way the ordinance is printed, it's a little tricky to figure it out, and I actually lent on Mr. Plouffe to help me out on this, but in an R3 zone, to do a three-family home, you need 12,000 square feet. So we're just shy of 1,500 square feet of area. You need 100 feet of frontage. We're at 87, so we're shy 13 feet of frontage. The home at 35 is an existing dilapidated, right now vacant home, encroaches a little too close to the street given the current setback requirements. Mr. Barros intends to add on to totally rehab the existing home. That will have 3 bedrooms, and on each additional unit have 3 additional bedrooms per unit. He has 6 parking spaces. There's actually room for more. There's a turnaround at the end of the lot, end of the parking area, so cars can go straight in and come straight out. The addition meets all of the required setbacks. I've provided you a copy of the plan showing the additional lots. So the question is, what is the hardship here? So first of all, he's pretty close in meeting the 12,000 square foot area of land. He's at 10,500. I think for a two-family, he could do a two-family by right. That's a 10,000 square foot area, although he would still have the question on the frontage, so he'd have to get a variance even if he were to do a 2. I think we actually went over a couple of plans, and based upon our conversations, Mr. Barros scaled down some things, improved the parking area, and I think what we have here is a pretty good parking scheme. The home is going to meet all the setbacks. It's one of the largest lots in the area. Now this combined lot area, it's, as I say, 10,501 square feet. Most of the lots are 8, 7, 8. I think there is a 10,000 square foot lot fairly nearby. So the hardship is he's very close to meeting the required square footage. This house, where it's located, is going to give him 56% of green space, where 30 is required. And as I say, he's just shy of 1,500 square feet on the area. It's a single-family home in an R3 zone, so it's surrounded by multi-family homes. So the hardship here would be to continue to maintain it as a single while you've got all this land and it was zoned for multi-family homes in the area. So I think it lends itself well to that modest expansion and does not encroach or do anything that would be violative of any of the surrounding properties, and I think it fits in well, especially given all the green space that he's provided, the ample green space. I think that's about it.
Board members? I think you did not mention that that lot that is combined with this one has a restriction on it that you cannot build on it.
Oh, that's actually not what it says.
What did it say?
I put that in my brief. I didn't mention that, and thank you for bringing that up. I did attach the deeds to my memorandum and the city council order, et cetera. So the restriction on the 6,500 square foot lot says that said premises are conveyed with the provision that construction of any building or structure on the property, and that would be the larger lot, is prohibited unless such building or structure is an accessory building or structure to the principal dwelling located adjacent to Plot 11. In this particular case, so it does, and I say that in my brief, it does contemplate that there would be additional building on the lot that was conveyed. However, there is no construction on the lot that was conveyed. I'm quite sure that everything is restricted to the existing 3,500 square foot lot.
It is.
So there's actually, even though you can build on it, he's not intending to do any building on it other than the parking.
All right, so I guess what I meant to say was that you could not build a separate structure on this property, a standalone, another house. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Unless, I don't even think you could do it with a variance. And you cannot subdivide it. You can't subdivide it either.
Yeah, it's.
You'd have to get the council to release that restriction.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the other comment that I wanted to make, or a question, is the new addition is going to encompass the current house that's there now.
It's going to be combined, yes.
Okay, so in the past, we've had several of these come up where the side yard setback for the original house is what it is, and that's prior to zoning. If, for any reason, that house was to be torn down and an entirely new house was to be built there, it would then have to come in conformance with the current zoning.
He's not tearing it down.
No, I'm just saying, if you did,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you'd have to, absolutely. I don't think you could, well, I suppose maybe under the 60% rule, if it burned down or something, you could rebuild it.
Well, I'm saying taking it down by his choice.
Yeah.
So,
And I had a case that
I know you did.
guy tore the house down, and I was like, what?
So I just want to make sure we're okay up front here, that this addition is going to encompass the current house.
Right.
And the foundation for the current house on the sideline setback is going to remain where it is.
Right.
Correct. Got it.
In that case, by the way, that guy tore the house down, then he blamed me.
Well, that's your problem. All right. Board members, any questions? Everybody's good? Okay, I'm going to close that portion. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Yes, please come forward. Step aside for a second. Please give your name to the clerk.
I'm sorry, my English is not very well. My name is Mariana Bernal. My husband is Denis Romero. He's the owner for the 27 Howard Square. To the next
What number do you own?
27 Howard Square. It's the next to the 35-7.
So 27, are you across the street?
Next to the house.
You're across the street from where this house is?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm not happy because it's okay that build to the 3 houses, but the point is not for the how much bring to the economy for the neighbor. The point is this street is too small for build 3 houses in this street. It's a lot of kids in this street. It's more houses, more dangerous for the kids because the kids, especially in summer, they go outside for play. More traffic, it's more people. It just, maybe somebody knows that this street at 27 Howard is too short, it's just one way. It's a lot of people parking outside. Doesn't matter they have parking inside, they put the car outside. for me, it's more dangerous for my kids or for the kids to the neighbor. Because it's coming more drugs, more traffic, more dangerous for the kids, and especially for my kids. Because you see in summer, a lot of teenagers coming outside for the play basketball. It's not fair to build more houses in the streets too small. I know they buy for building because the prices is too big for 3 houses. But I think so it's not safe. This street is more, the street is more dirty because a lot of people throw the trash on the floor. So what we can do, my husband and I, especially in summer, we go outside for cleaning this street. So if we bring more people to the neighbor, what happens? We're thinking about more for the dangerous. Maybe, I hope everybody understands me, my English is no well.
No, you're doing good.
But thinking about the kids. Not about we have more houses. In this moment, the rent is more raised. What happened with that? A lot of people share apartments. How many families living in one apartment? 2 families. So how many people we can bring to the street? 1 family for a floor? 2 families? We need to thinking about that. The street, if the street is 2 ways, it's more big, it's okay. But I'm sorry, it's my opinion, I'm not happy for that. Maybe the rest of the people, they don't care because they don't thinking for our children. But we have to thinking.
Okay. Have you seen the plan at all for this house?
I not see. I saw the house when my neighbor bought. I not see, but honestly, nobody parking in the parking lot.
Okay, I just want to make sure you understand that the proposal that's before us tonight has more than enough off-street parking. So whoever lives in this house will have opportunity to park off the street. They would not be on the street. That's,
They don't parking in the street.
well, I'm just, yeah.
Yeah. For example, I parking in my parking lot, but it's a lot of people parking outside. Doesn't matter they have parking in their house, they don't parking. It's mostly in summer, if I want to parking outside, we don't have a space for parking.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Just speak right into the microphone and
Oh, sorry.
you can pull it closer to you if you'd like.
All right, sure.
There you go.
Yep, better?
Much better.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Tavares, Ward 2 City Councilor. Actually, this property is right in my neighborhood, which, I've been there, 16 years. It's such a wonderful neighborhood. And I'm totally agree, because I already saw the project, even I looking all the, they're gonna do over there. I'm totally gonna support a 3-family house, because those neighborhood I know is small, but since I've been lived there, I feel like, everybody work as a team family, and I kind of spoke to all the neighbors. Actually, I didn't get time to talk to them too, because they are my neighbors as well. Sometimes you're always busy, but I kind of asked a couple of neighbors, what do you think? Because I got the letter, and then everybody said, wow, it's great, because most of the house right there is 2-family, 3-family. And then why not? Because it's looking so small between all those 2-family, 3-family, and, everybody said, wow, if it's gonna be 3-family, it's gonna look great. As long as everybody's gonna take care of the property, everybody know the responsibility, and, definitely I'm gonna support to be a 3-family. Basically, most the neighbor I talk to, they totally gonna be supports as well. That's what I have to say for now.
You're in support.
Yes, I am in favor, yes, for 3-family.
Have you seen the plan for this property?
Yes, I see
Mm-hmm.
The off-street parking and all that stuff, yeah.
Basically, all the neighborhood is two of us has more parking space. Most of the people does not have a parking space. Basically, sometimes we share parking space with the tenant. Like myself, I'm the one that has the more big parking space. For winter time, I let all the neighbors park because I can park more than 30 cars in my backyard. We always doing great. We always share, and then everybody park on side by side, and everybody figure it out. But as most of the neighbors doesn't have parking space. And then, like I said, most of the neighbors, 2 family, 3 family, they're all doing great. Never been fighting, never been complaining since I've been there.
Very good, thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? All right, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there any public official that wants to be heard on the issue? So you've already spoken on that, so any other public official that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. I will now open it up for deliberation from the board members. Board members.
I like the project. Usually we shoot these down because they don't have any parking. This is totally self-sustainable, so.
I agree. And Ms. Romero mentioned that, that parking lot there is a dumping ground. So I think this, project here utilizes probably the only use for that lot anyways. And I think this would be an asset to the neighborhood.
I was over there maybe an hour ago, and most of them are multifamily buildings. So it's not like it's putting a multi in a single-family neighborhood, so it's kind of suits the street.
I would agree. I knew kids who grew up in this neighborhood, and it was always a close-knit neighborhood, and to see, like, the woman in opposition talked about how people dumping there, creating a parking lot for the residents of that other property, I think will be much beneficial to that house, and again, like my colleague said, it would be very self-sufficient.
Yeah, I think it's a good utilization of the land. I think the parking was something I was a little worried about, and then also the impact on green space, but I think it sounds like it works, so, yeah.
So the parking spaces are going to be 180 square feet of parking as conforming to zoning. And I am also under the understanding that this building will be fully sprinkled by code. So for board members, the building will be fully sprinkled. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to grant.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded with the stipulations that the building will be fully sprinkled and all of the parking spaces will conform to the standard 180 square feet parking area. Is that what we want?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Stephen Lianis,
Yes.
Yolando Spinola,
Yes.
James Sweeney,
Yes.
Chief Nardelli,
Yes?
Mr. Galligan.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, 5 in the yes, 0 in the no.
All right, the vote is 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted. Thank you. Good luck. All right, in the next case, the chief is going to take the chairmanship, and our new member will be voting on this issue so that she has a chance to participate in the meeting.
Okay, the next case, case 22-6, petition of Ross and Agnes Messina, 7 Dunkin Way, Bridgeton, Maine, for a variance from section 27-9, seeking a reduction in the side yard setback from 15 to 10 feet in an R1C zone located at 71 Morse Avenue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Frank Gallagher. I'm a professional engineer with an office in Foxborough, and I'm representing the owner and applicant, Ross Messina, on my right. And we're asking for relief from a sideline setback requirement for an existing home at 71 Morse Avenue. You know, as I say, there's an existing house, and what we're seeking to do is put an addition on the rear of the house. As it exists right now, the house is not in conformance with the side setback. It's not in conformance really with any of the requirements in an R1C zone, and none of the properties really around this home are in compliance at all. And I've submitted a brief requesting the variance, and I've attached to that brief just a kind of a snapshot from the Assessors Map that shows you the neighborhood here that we're in. It's mostly bungalow-type homes. They're on lots that are, you know, in the range of 7,000 or 8,000 square feet. And I think if you kind of look up and down the line, pretty much every house that you see is in violation of the side setback. And I think what happened, and I'm speculating somewhat, but if you look in the neighborhood, you'll see when this was all constructed, I think most of the houses kind of hugged the right sideline, and that would allow for a driveway to be placed on the left-hand side of the house. And as I say, they're undersized lots, and the frontage is much less than what zoning requires. So in order to really fit a house and a driveway on the properties, you had to kind of cheat the house to one side, and that's the case here. So our hardship really is simply that it's all undersized. The houses were located as they are long before the zoning regulations were put in place, and they were located in violation if we apply today's zoning. We're simply looking to add on to the rear of the house, just extending really the length of the house. So the existing or the proposed addition wouldn't be any closer to that sideline setback than what we have currently. So we're not increasing the violation, so that's a point I want to make. And as I say, we're in a situation where we have existing lots all through this neighborhood that don't meet the requirements. And in order to really put a functioning addition on this home, we really have to extend off the rear. We can't really attach it to, we have, you know, we do have one side of the home that's not in violation of the sideline setback, but if we were to add there, we'd be eliminating the driveway. So that's not really a valid option in this case. I think also just to make another point, as far as the spirit of the zoning regulations, I don't think we're really in violation of that. And if you look at, again, the overall area, you know, this is a very common situation throughout the neighborhood. So really, if you look at what is realistically the zoning in this neighborhood, we really are very much in line with what's already out there on this property and all the surrounding properties.
Thank you, sir. Questions from the board members?
Yeah, so just, Mr. Chair, if I could, so just to clarify, you're not asking for anything that's not already there in terms of relief, because it doesn't currently conform with the single-family structure, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Linus?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to close that. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the motion? Seeing none, I close that portion. Is there anyone here that is to speak opposed to this motion? Seeing none, I'll close that. Are there any public officials that would like to be heard on the motion? I will close that. Seeing none, are there any elected officials that would like to be heard on the motion? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Discussion amongst the board members.
Yeah, I would say, with these, Mr. Chair, if I could, we always ask if we can go off the back first instead of the side. This neighborhood, this house only has 60 feet of frontage, if I'm not mistaken here, reading the map correctly. That's usually where we ask them to go off of, and it looks like they're doing their best to try and achieve that and add space. So with plenty of rear setback, so.
Yeah, and as Mr. Gallagher mentioned, pretty much the whole neighborhood, same situation, less than 15 feet side setbacks. And, it's not going to be any more than that. So I don't see an issue with this.
Yeah, I also don't see any harm. It's on the back, so it won't really be visible from the street that much or anything like that. So I don't see this having any unintended consequences.
I'll make a motion to grant.
Second?
Yeah, second that.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Stephen Leanis,
Yes.
Yolando Spinola,
Yes.
James Sweeney,
Yes.
Chief Nardelli,
Yes.
Monique Berry.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, 5 in the yes, 0 in the no.
5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The motion is so granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have to step outside.
Yeah, he's coming.
Is he coming? Can't stay away.
Doing a good job.
What was the vote on that, 5-0 granted?
Yes.
That's correct. I think I didn't put it on there. Sorry. I knew I wouldn't get it all right. I was batting 1,000 till we got back in here.
All right, the next case is 22-27. The petition of Andrea Burton, 67 Bigney Avenue, Brockton, Mass., for a variance from section 27-9 for permission to erect a fire egress for the new two-story back decks and stairs to convert the home into a two-family home in an R2 zone located 36 Broad Street.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Burton, general contractor on this project, and this is Mr. C. Brandau. He's the architect. We are seeking a variance for the 10,000 square foot lot. This property is nestled. It's one of maybe two single families among multifamilies on the street. We need to construct a fire egress. If you're on the, it's a two-level, single-family home, but if you're on the second floor, there's no way to get out from the back. So we need to construct a fire egress anyway. I'm asking for relief for the homeowner for financial hardship because we're going to be doing the deck anyway. If we convert it to a two-family, that would allow her to at least have some rental income on the second floor. Right now, it's just family occupied. As mentioned, there are two families, three families, and there's even a sixth family on the street. This is actually on a lot that's about 6,500 square feet. It's one of the largest lots on the street, but it's not quite 10,000 square feet. So that's actually my petition.
Board members, any questions?
Could you repeat what the hardship was? I'm sorry.
The financial hardship for her to create the fire egress, because we're creating a new fire escape. When the zoning changed, like you can no longer use metal fire escapes or anything like that, so we actually have to create the stairway two levels. And that's going to be a considerable expense for her.
So this is currently a single-family home?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to the board what the situation is with the off-street parking?
There's room for 4 cars in the driveway, maybe more, but definitely 4 cars. So there'd be 2 cars per floor. The driveway is to the left of the property.
Yeah, I don't see a dimension from the outside of the driveway to the side of the house. So you're telling us that there's sufficient room to put 4 cars in that, where it says bituminous concrete next to the house?
I believe the dimensions are on the plot plan. Not enough?
Shows 12 feet from the house to the property line. I'm curious, where it says bituminous concrete, I was just curious to see how wide the driveway is. I don't see a number.
Mr. Chair, the homeowner is here, and she states that the driveway accommodates 4 cars now.
So what physical changes would you be doing to this house? Are you telling us that the deck that I see on the back is a new addition?
The deck currently like is, there is an existing deck there, but it will like old decks and you will be need to like bring it to proper code. And we just like building it like kind of repair as necessary, but some of those when you try to like reinforce it, you just gotta basically build a new one, but the decks are already there. They're two-story decks. We just put in the stairs. That is only the new addition to the house. And inside, physically, there is no change to the footprint of the house, anything. It's just the hallway that is in there existing 7-foot hallway. We're just gonna split it in half, 3.5 hallways, and put a door that goes upstairs to one unit, and the other just be the way it is. There is not much change to the housing itself. It's just because the requirements of the egress in the back of the house for the second floor.
So you have the plan in front of you.
Yes.
All right, you see the dotted line where it says DK?
On what page?
1 of 1.
Oh, that's the land survey. Okay, 1 second.
My question is, the deck that's there now, is that a first floor deck or is that first and second?
Existing, there is a first and a second floor deck existing in the house now.
So right now, if you walk out there from the second floor, you can't get down to the
No,
the
there
ground.
is no stairs. There is just a deck there right now. Yeah. I don't think we want to take that jump.
There's no stairwell from the second floor to the outside. You have to go through the front steps to get
Yeah, those are existing decks there.
Let's see. All right, so basically 27.9 says that you need 5,000 square feet per unit, which is 10,000 square feet.
Yes.
The lot is 6,500.
Correct.
And your hardship is the fact that you need extra income from the financial income from the second floor.
That's one, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. And since rents all going up all crazy, that will be good to have an extra set of unit in the city. So that's another thing.
Okay. Board members, any other questions? If not, I'm going to close that. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'm going to ask, is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Please come forward.
My name's Johnny Casella. I live at 40 Broad Street.
What number?
40.
40.
40, right next door. And my concern, which you were talking about, was the parking. You can maybe get 4 cars in there, but it's kind of really squeezed in my opinion. And it's, come winter time and things like that, it's going to be difficult for a lot of the movement. I mean, the street is really congested as is. They mentioned 6-family homes, trees, and so forth. Now, it looks like there might be some property they could go back on the side, maybe get another space or 2, I'm not sure. I'm no expert on the parking, but to me, that was my concern, and that's why I'm here, because the street's very congested. I mean, once they put the full light in at the corner of Ames and Maine, Broad Street gets an awful lot of traffic. Everybody's parking on one side of the street generally, and Broad Street oftentimes, even though it's a 2-way street, is like one way only because of all the congestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? Yes, Counselor.
Not opposition.
Oh, not opposition, I'm doing the same thing. I'm sorry. I'll wait my turn.
You're up next. Is there anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the hearing. Is there any elected official that wants to be heard on the issue?
Hi, I'm Rita Mendez, Councilor at Large, and I'm here in support of this petition. It's already in a neighborhood that already has multi-family, 2-family residents in there. They're not really expanding the size of the house from the outside, and they're already going through a lot of the expenses to put in that second egress on the upstairs. So it makes sense to legally convert it to a two-family, because that way it will relieve the homeowners if they were to rent it legally and do that. So I'm asking the board to consider approving it tonight. In favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other elected official want to be heard? All right, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. The public hearing is closed. I'll now open it up for deliberations from the board members.
I would have liked to had a site map showing the details of what they're gonna do with the parking. Because I'm still not sold that there's gonna be enough parking for a two-family. That's pretty much what I wanted to mention.
To piggyback onto Mr. Lannis's point, I do have concerns about the parking. That Broad Street, to the gentleman's concerns, is very difficult to move fire apparatus up and down on a good day. Putting another family in there, and I understand the neighborhood greatly, and I understand the need for affordable housing. I just have concerns about the parking on that street because of the way the street is, I don't want to say laid out, but the way, the width of the street as it is now, and people parking on both sides of that street concerns me, Mr. Chairman.
That's it. I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to make a motion.
Motion to grant.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to grant. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Steve Leanis,
No.
Yolando Spinola,
Yes.
James Sweeney,
Yes.
Chief Nardelli,
No.
Chairman Galligan.
No.
Mr. Chairman, we have 2 yeses, 3 noes.
2 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative. The petition is denied. Petition number 2228, the petition of Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, 63 Main Street, Brockton, Mass., for a special permit from section 2719 to construct a freestanding modular unit resulting in more than 2 accessory structures in an R1B lot, and no more than 1 principal building structure and 2 accessory structures, including a private garage on each lot, in an R1A, R1B, and R1C zone, except as provided in section 2737, subsection B, located at 466 Forest Avenue.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Michael Jacques. I'm the Director of Facilities for the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. I have with me tonight David Kelly, the Chief Engineer with Meridian Associates. The Brockton Neighborhood Health Center is looking to build a school-based health clinic on the grounds of the Brockton High School, located on Forest Ave. The building would be placed to the southwest of the Fine Arts Building on a plot of grassy land on the other side of that parking lot, to the west of that Fine Arts Building. It would be of modular construction, 3,000 square feet, single story. And we are looking for a special permit from section 27-19, as this structure would exceed the maximum allowable structures under that section on the school grounds. I can have David speak about any of the questions you might have.
Hello, David Kelly, Meridian Associates. Just to elaborate, basically, the school is looking to provide some medical treatment for students, and there's no physical room within the confines of the school that exists now. So after numerous meetings with the school and city officials, it was recommended that we propose a freestanding health clinic adjacent to the school, yet outside the existing walls. This clinic would be used only by students. It would not be available to the public or anybody else. Additionally, part of why the building was recommended to be freestanding was that it's our understanding that there are plans down the road within the next X number of years to do some remodeling to the school, which would require some demolition. So it really wouldn't make any sense from a financial standpoint to remodel an interior portion of the school to then tear it down in a few years to then rebuild it again with new school construction. The location of the freestanding health clinic is, as you're all familiar, that southwest corner, basically adjacent to where some of the JV teams practice football. They have cheerleading practice, et cetera. It's right up against the road, close proximity to the school for students to walk in and out with little visibility from others around. And there's going to be some landscaping, stormwater management to reduce any stormwater impacts. It's going to have sanitary sewer, domestic water, and electric. And we have met before technical review. They basically signed off on it. We have had 2 meetings with conservation. We have our final meeting with them next week, and they're pretty much on board with it. And then a couple weeks after that, we have the final meeting with planning board for site plan approval, and everyone is basically on board with this project as proposed. So if you have any other questions regarding, we're here to answer them.
Board members?
I guess my question would be, what are the hours of operation? Is it going to be school hours or going to be slightly after, before? What are we working with in terms of business hours?
We are mimicking the school hours and probably a few hours after school ends. Our goal is not to be pulling students out of class, to make some hours flexible for them to be seen after school. We might try to arrive and open up a half hour before school opens for students that might have to pop in and get a doctor's note or something like that. It is only available to the high school students as well. It is not available to the general public or anybody else or family members of the high school students. It's just the high school students. And the school board has requested that maybe in the future it could be made available to other students at other Brockton area schools.
I guess my follow-up question would be, is there any consideration for traffic walking to that? Because I'm pretty familiar with Brockton High School. In that back entrance right there, you'll get some speed, around the back of the school trying to hurry up and get around to the front.
Oh, yeah.
So just wondering if there's any consideration for pedestrian traffic to get to the location.
Sure. If you're coming into that 3-way intersection from the northwest, there is not a stop control. However, the proposed plans do provide a new striped crosswalk with applicable signage, which will be placed on either side, crosswalk ahead with the arrow pointing down. The traffic coming in from the east does have stop control, so they will be forced to stop prior to the crosswalk. And traffic coming up from the south does not have stop control, but they will see those crosswalk ahead signs to slow everybody down, to make them aware that there will be pedestrians in the area.
So just so I'm just clear on the project itself, these will be, the students will make appointments at your facility? Is this, you guys might not know about that, but I'm just trying to understand how this process works. We have healthcare professionals in the building. We're gonna have healthcare professionals outside of the building. I'm just kind of getting an idea of what the building's proper use is for then.
So the school nursing staff are very limited in their scope and the treatments they can provide to the students. The health center staff have a much broader scope of treatment. The school nurse can maybe diagnose, call a parent to take the child home, send them to a hospital. We could actually treat the child or the student in the clinic itself. So that's the big difference between the two.
So would there, I guess what I'm getting at is, would there be the potential now that a student in the nurse's office could get sent to the treatment facility?
Absolutely. They would go to the nurse's office first. Nurse's office would then make a referral over to the clinic, and the student would be brought over to the clinic for treatment.
Okay, all right. So the biggest reason I sit on this board, are there any fire protection agents in this building, by the size of the building, what it's made of? I'm looking at it, I get an idea, but Is there any fire protection built into this building for the staff and the students?
We are going to require a fire alarm system in the building. Because of the building's size and occupancy, it is not required to be sprinkled. Because it is of modular construction, I believe the state kind of oversees the fire regulations or rules on it, but we're going to require a fire notification system. We've talked to Deputy Chief Williams, and we are putting in an additional conduit that's going to run back to the school, so we could have the option of having it sound through the school's notification system, if that's going to be required. But the extra conduit will be there for that notification purpose.
So it would alarm with the master box in the school?
Correct, if that is permitted by the deputy chief, fire prevention, and providing the school agrees upon it. If they do not, it'll be independent and have its own call-out, like a cellular call-out to the fire department, well, to a monitoring station that goes to the fire department.
Who will be, you're taking a building that's maintained by you folks and putting it onto school property. I'm sure you'll be maintaining the interior of the building. What about around the outside of the building and the beautification of the building so it doesn't, is that going to be the responsibility of the school department, or is that going to be your responsibility?
You want to go ahead? Okay.
Yeah, that is very answerable. As part of the site plan review and the tech review committee.
Can you move that microphone just a little closer to you, or you to?
Sure, my apologies. As part of the other approvals that we've gone through, there was an easement to be requested around the proposed landscaping, utilities, et cetera, that are associated with this building that will all be maintained by the neighborhood health clinic during, while it's up and operational.
Okay.
That includes maintenance of the stormwater infiltration system, the sanitary sewer, the water connections, electrical conduits, landscaping, maintenance of the grounds, et cetera.
Okay. I think you probably know where I'm going with this. I'm just concerned that, I don't want it to be, they're responsible for that. And as long as those are designated and we don't have a building that's overgrown when people aren't using it. Now, during school vacation, things of that nature, will this building still be in operation then, or is it is?
Yes, we plan to be in operation because school vacation, during that summer period, you have a lot of summer sports and sports physicals. So instead of the student having to go to their primary care doctor elsewhere, they could just come back to the school for their sports physical and start up their sports programs in July or August or whenever they start. Okay. And we still intend to see students during that time.
Okay. Understood. I think, it sounds like a good project. I think maybe next time they should have, and I'm nothing against you or the maintenance and facility people, just to kind of get an operation, maybe an overview of the operation, maybe they should have sent someone from that side of it as well to talk about, and not just have you do it. And I don't mean any disrespect, but you're the facilities operator, and I completely understand that. Right. But, we have a lot of questions about the operation of it, like Mr. Sweeney spoke on the traffic and things of that nature. I think, understood. Thank you for the, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
A follow-up question here. It's modular construction. Is this just going to look, I don't have a rendering. Is this just going to look like a square box, or?
It's not going to look like an ugly square box, but it's a square box. Yeah, it's going to be 4 trailers that a company called Will Scott, who has done business with the city before for Modular Classrooms, they're building it. And it's going to be 4 trailers that are going to be brought in from a factory across state. And when they arrive on site mid-July, they'd be joined together to form one complete building. It's going to have a sloped roof. It's going to have gutters. There's going to be a skirt. There will not be tires on it. There won't be axles. It'll sit 3 feet off the ground with a skirt, handicapped ramp. I mean, from a distance, it'll look just like a regular building.
In your project, are you required to go to site plan approval through the planning board?
Yes, we are.
Okay, all right.
How many stories is this going to be?
It is a single story, about 13 feet high.
So it's a single-story building with a sloped roof?
Yes, in the renderings, it doesn't have an incredibly sloped roof, but I think it has a sloped roof enough to have rainwater runoff.
Are any of these buildings somewhere else in the United States?
There are school-based health clinics in almost every major city in the United States. Brockton is one of the few that do not have one. Okay. So they're all over the place.
So to clarify my question, the type of building that you're gonna put up there, is this type of building anywhere else?
Oh, yeah, modular health clinics, they're all over the place. I hope I'm answering your question, correctly, but
What I'm leading up to here is I'm very disappointed that we did not get a rendering of what this building is going to look like when it's in place. Now, you're getting questions here. Is this thing a square box? Has it got a sloped roof? Is it 2 stories high? There's a lot of questions from the board about aesthetically what this building's going to look like.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get it in my mind that this building is about 50 feet long and 60 feet wide, whatever, with a sloped roof, and there's 4 buildings that are going to be attached to one another. So what I'm envisioning here is something like the modular classrooms that we have in the school system today. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, yes, I am. I don't think it would quite look like that. I mean, I do have renderings. I did not realize you had to have the renderings. I have them in my office.
I tell you, it would it would help your cause, believe me.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here thinking that these modular classrooms were brought in, attached to one another to create additional classrooms. So my question is this building going to look like the modular classrooms that we see in other schools? And you're saying it's not, and it's going to have a sloped roof on it. So aesthetically, it will look different than what the modular classrooms look like.
Correct. Yeah, I've seen many modular classrooms, square boxes, flat roofs. You got to get up there, heavy snowfall, shovel them off. You wouldn't have to do that with this one.
So is this building going to be owned by the health center and placed on the Brockton property, or is it owned by the city of Brockton?
It is owned by the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. The property is owned by the city of Brockton or the school, and will always be owned by, by the city of Brockton. And we are responsible for anything on those grounds, including all the electrical and the utilities, the plumbing, the storage.
So obviously you've got some type of an agreement between the health center and Brockton Hospital, Brockton High School, I should say, to place this on their property.
Yes, as a condition of planning board's approval, there has to be a signed agreement in place that is being drafted by the school's attorney. Rob May had recently spoke with the mayor, and we were informed that that was in process. And there's an addendum to that drafted by our attorney stating that we will care for that property and the building on the property and all its utilities and accessories.
Okay, and the other thing that's not provided to us tonight that would have been very helpful is an attestation letter from the City of Brockton School Department supporting what you're planning to do on their property. So as it stands right now, you could be standing here tonight telling us that you're going to put this building at the high school, and the school department says, what are they talking about?
Yeah,
that could happen, and I'm sure it's not, but that's why we should have had some kind of documentation from the school department saying that they support what you're trying to do up there.
And the only documentation I have is the planning board application, technical review application. All those have been signed by the mayor himself. I mean, he's fully aware of what's going on.
Okay, I'm just saying that for the board, we need to know that if the city's not going to own the building and you are, you need to show to us that you have permission from the city of Brockton to put that building on that piece of property. So,
I understand.
okay, so hopefully we get that straightened out maybe at planning.
That is an absolute condition of planning. They told us it had to be very clear. So I just wanted to let you know, they would not approve us without that.
Mr. Chair, if I could, just a last question. Is there a revenue stream for the city at all? I know it's beneficial for the students, but is there a lease involved? Is there anything like that, or is it just?
No revenue. No, it's just for the benefit of the students.
Okay.
And the health center being nonprofit, we make no money off of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I guess my question is, why modular versus a permanent structure?
Well, modular was supposed to be much quicker back when we started this project last year, but we ran into some obstacles. First being that our goal was to get it up and running before the end of December. So we went with modular for the speed of construction. During the process of the design and development, we had attended a school committee meeting, and members of the school committee reminded members of the school, as well as the health center, that the school was going to undergo a major renovation, possibly a rebuild, in 5 to 7 years. And the plot of land that they had given us to build on was not going to be usable. So we had to start from scratch. And the mayor and the superintendent and Ken Thompson, the facilities director from the school, identified a new piece of land for us to build on. However, because it was a new piece of land, different distance from where we're going to be pulling our utilities from, a different type of soil, we had to start all over. So the speed of construction, for modular, I probably could have built 3 buildings by now.
Are there any plans for including this with the renovations are done with the current building, or you're going to keep it separate from the current building?
We would really hope we could be included in the high school. We've visited North Shore Community and Lynn High School. They both have community health centers within them, and they work really, really well together with the staff and the students. It's nice when you're there and the students are walking down the hall and they pop in and they say hi to the nurse practitioner or one of the counselors in there. We won't quite have that here because we are separate from the school, but we're hoping during that renovation we can play a part in the design and they can carve out a space for us. And then in turn, we could turn that building over to the school for another use.
So what I understand from this conversation is that relative to the fire alarm will be monitored either through a master box through the high school, or it's going to be a private contract, but it will be monitored. So
that's correct.
Yeah, okay, good. And you're also telling us that other school systems throughout the state have similar facilities such as this, similar programs such as this?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I could ask, actually, our new member has a question, if she may.
I guess we can allow that.
Thank you. I'm very familiar with health center-based clinics in schools. So, but because you're outside of the school, this modular building, is it gonna be like a trailer type of restroom? Or, because if you're doing full clinic service, students will need to use the bathroom or do testing and stuff like that. How have you worked that out in the modular? Is there plumbing? Is it how is that working out? Will they have to have sewage be picked up, or I'm just trying to understand.
So everything will be plumbed just like a normal building. It would go into a sewer. It goes into an ejector pump.
Correct.
And it's fed into the city sewer. Water running to the building is the same as a regular building. Electricity, it's the same. We're running it all underground. The clinic itself will have 3 restrooms. There's a restroom. We're required to abide by the Department of Public Health regulations and of plan review. So they look at our plans and they say, yeah, it's appropriate for a health clinic, the design you came up with. So restroom in the waiting room for the students. Restroom for the staff only, and then there's a clinical restroom that's used for the students if they have to provide maybe a urine sample or something, or if they're in an exam room and they need to use the bathroom. In addition to that, there are 3 exam rooms that'll be overseen by a nurse practitioner, and 3 behavioral health / mental health counseling offices that will have a behavioral health counselor professional to see students for their mental health needs. There'll be a specimen area, point of care area, so they can do urine dip slides and things like that. Janitor's closet, some storage, and an IT server room, as well as a nurse's station.
Are you providing medicine at all here? Is there going to be medicine storage or anything like that?
We don't really, it's more like ibuprofen, Tylenol, stuff like that. They will be doing vaccines, but generally we can't store medication. So, if you're coming for a COVID vaccine or a flu shot, we can do that. But we may not be able to treat you for, with other types of medication. We may have to send you to the Maine Health Center for that.
So it sounds like there's a lot of other agencies that are going to be involved in this if this is approved tonight?
Yes, the Department of Public Health has to approve our plans, and then after it's built, they have to inspect the facility to make sure it meets the state regulations. We're also accredited by the Joint Commission, which is a very high level of accreditation. Most hospitals and healthcare, reputable healthcare companies in the United States are accredited by the Joint Commission. They have very strict rules and standards for patient safety and care.
All right, so I'd like to just bring this back to our decision tonight is whether or not it's appropriate to put this at that site. And I'm convinced that there's a lot of other agencies that are going to be involved if this is approved.
Yes, there will. And Department of Public Health also inspects us every 2 years, and the Joint Commission inspects us every 3. And we're open to all other inspections at any time. They do unannounced.
Any other question by board members? Everybody good? I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there any public official that wants to be heard on the issue? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. That ends the open discussion public hearing. I'm now going to open it up for deliberations for the board members.
Mr. Chair, I guess obviously a great idea for the students. My concern is the appeal of the building. If you're going to, in the future, if we renovate Brockton High School and you spend a couple $100 million or more, obviously you'd want to be tied in with the renovation, but what if you're not? So I'll see you on the planning board, but that's my concern. Otherwise, it's a fantastic idea.
So I got the impression that the people that will be using this facility is going to be students from schools. Right now, it's the high school, but it could expand beyond that. This will not be open to the general public to come in and out of for different things?
Absolutely not for the general public. Only the high school students to begin with. And if the school board requests that we start seeing students from other schools in Brockton, and it's Brockton only, we would entertain that.
Okay,
we do that for them.
And the other note that I made here is that the building is going to be secured and monitored for fire alarm either by master box or by, okay.
That is correct. We will also have, my goal for additional security is to have a panic alarm with a blue flashing light that is mounted to the exterior of the building. So if something were to happen inside, we could hit that and it could be a visual.
Just a suggestion, you may want to put some bollards in front of this place too.
It's a good idea since the other one's a magnet, yeah.
All right, any other questions from board members? No comments? I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Stephen Leanis.
Yes.
Yolando Spinola.
Yes.
James Sweeney.
Yes.
Keith Nardelli.
Yes.
Chairman Galligan.
Yes.
Chairman, 5 in the yes, 0 in the no.
The vote is 5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
I was waiting for it.
Okay, the next petition is 2229, the petition of Legal Greens, care of Vanessa Jean Baptiste, 71 Legion Parkway, Brockton, Mass., to seek a modification to an issued use variance and special permit from provisions 2724.4 subsection 3, allowed uses, A, principal permitted to operate a marijuana cultivation facility to support the adjacent retail establishment within 100 feet of a residential use in a C2 and C3 zone located at 93R Pleasant Street. What's up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is Attorney Richard Stady. I've appeared before some of you already. I'm the counsel for Legal Greens. With me this evening is Nicole Dunphy from High Point Engineering. Also in the audience is the owner of the property, Mr. Fred Fontaine, and the representatives of Legal Green are Mark, Vanessa, and Michael Maloney, attorney at law, representing Legal Greens. There's an old saying or a familiarity about deja vu, and some people believe in it, some don't. You may recall that this petition was actually brought before you almost a year ago, and it was granted by this board, so Legal Greens could have a grow facility. And here we are again, and I'll give you the reasons why, and why, obviously, hopefully you'll vote in favor again. So first, we want to show a couple of things about the property. The context map is on display. That's been submitted also as part of the record, and it does show that we comply with the requirements of not being near any kind of school or any kind of facility of that sort. I'm also going to reference, to save time, my memorandum, which you've already had a chance perhaps to peruse, so I won't read through it. That will save you time. I just want to highlight some of the important things about it. At the time that we got approval, we had talked about that this was going to be like a two-stage approach. We were going to do like a part one, and then afterwards a build-out of the building. The problem was, as we got into it and really examined it, we found the building was just not capable of sustaining the type of operation we wanted to do. And so faced with mounting costs and really some prohibitive things in terms of modification, it was decided by Legal Greens to take the building down and to build a new building. And so consultation with Brockton town officials, it was thought that we needed was a modification of the prior permit. And again, that's why we're here tonight. I want to show them the existing facility, just to show a picture of the site, the building. Oh, okay, all right, well, that's the plan, that's okay, that's all right. That's the plan, Mr. Chairman, that plans were submitted to you of what was previously approved. That facility there was again approved about a year ago. What we'd like to compare that to now is the plan we presented, which we feel is vastly improved. So there's the old and there's the proposed. A couple of things about this plan, highlighting it for you. The new plan will conform in terms of zoning dimensions. There's no relief required. It has landscape requirements and actually results in a smaller footprint. It's a smaller building, which means there's more open space. That's one thing I think that's in favor of it. Number two, it's going to be a modern building. Everything will be by code, rather than having a building that really was struggling to meet the codes of Brockton. We're going to have a brand new building, which will be having improvement to the water system and also other things that I'll highlight in terms of the off-site improvements. The relief specifically is exactly like we did before. We were told we needed the same relief. Again, no mention to that, but we need the special permit and the variance, partly because this is a strange district. It's partly C2, C3, and also because there is a residence within 100 feet located within it, which has been there for a while. So we need the variance as well to comply with what we're trying to do. We're very heartened by the support of the neighbors and people who have been shown the plan. We're also very grateful for the local elected officials who are here tonight and others who are in support of it. We know that it's based primarily in part, and it's a testament to Legal Greens on the fine, outstanding operation they've done in their dispensary. They have a state-of-the-art facility there. They're doing a great job, and Legal Greens is asking out tonight for the second part of the operation, which will make them a success. A couple of things, again, to highlight what we're looking for. We need a variance, and I think we certainly meet that criteria. Once again, it basically mirrors the last memo with a couple of changes even for the good. Certainly, the soil is urban soil. The shape of the lot is strange. It is a little bit unique. You've got two zoning districts, which make it strange. And again, what we found out was the structure itself, which is a criteria for granting the variance, just isn't suitable. It just can't maintain what we want to do there. Would it be a detriment to the public if this is granted? We think not. We feel this is an improvement to the area. We're going to make a whole bunch of improvements, both off-site and on-site. There'll be a state-of-the-art infiltration drainage system installed, which will improve drainage. We're going to do some off-site improvements on the street in terms of the bituminous concrete sidewalk that's in there. About 90 linear feet will be replaced with granite curbing. And there are other improvements as well that I think Nicole will highlight for you. So there'll certainly be improvements there as well. There shouldn't be an adverse effect on traffic because this isn't a store. It just basically would be the workers coming and going, and they'll be going to work at different shifts as requested before. And certainly would this be derogating from the bylaw if you granted it? I would say respectfully no, because you already granted it. You granted this before, and so you've granted relief similar to this, so it's not inconsistent with the granting of the relief. probably more importantly, is the granting of the special permit should and ought to show and should demonstrate that there's a benefit to the community. And let me just highlight, if I could, for you, 6 or 7 reasons we feel are the key reasons why this should be done. First of all, as mentioned, the old building is in definite disrepair. It is not usable, and it's something that needs to be replaced. That's a picture, a couple of pictures of the site of the old building that's currently there, the site of the prospect tonight. Secondly, there will be an increase in open space. Third, there's going to be improvement in terms of landscaping. Fourth, there's going to be an improvement in stormwater management, as outlined. Plans have been submitted, and again, we went to tech review, which Nicole can handle, but there'll be an improvement there as well. Off-site improvements include, again, the concrete public sidewalk will be replaced by 90 linear feet of vertical granite curb, and also there's a resetting of a catch basin on the street itself, which Legal Greens will undertake to do. That's just another improvement. Couple other things. Tax revenue obviously will be better for the city of Brockton with a newer building. You'll be able to assess it more, so there'll be additional fiscal benefit to your city. There's also going to be a benefit in terms of the host agreement. Because of the larger facility there, it will generate more revenue for the city of Brockton with the host agreement we have in place. And last, but certainly not least, I want to remind the board respectfully that Legal Greens is an economic empowerment candidate. The economic empowerment candidates were granted by the state to motivate minority applicants to succeed. They already have a dispensary. One of the key components of their business plan is to have a grow facility. If they get this grow facility, you'll be enabling Mark and Vanessa to succeed. So I would ask respectfully for your support once again, only this time for a better plan, a nicer plan, and a better plan, and I ask on behalf of my clients that you grant approval. With your permission, if I may, could I turn it over to my engineer quickly? Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. For the record, my name is Nicole Dunphy. I'm an associate with High Point Engineering. As Richard said, we were here about a year ago. Other than the building and the relocation of the parking lot, the proposal is pretty much the same. There is a zoning requirement that commercial uses need to provide a 10-foot wide landscape strip between residential uses, which did not exist with the existing property. As part of our proposal, we are providing that landscape screening along the north sides of the property and the south as required. We are meeting the parking requirement per zoning, and we're doing 1 handicap accessible van space as well. We're doing new utilities. We have new sanitary sewer service coming off of Hereford Street. There'll be upgrades to the existing water service, which has all been previously reviewed and discussed during the tech review process. We are doing an on-site surface bioretention area for water quality treatment, as well as an subsurface infiltration system that will recharge the roof runoff directly. The new building will be 3 stories. It results in a slight decrease in footprint from what the existing building was. This is a rendering of what we're proposing for the new building. There'll be minimal signage that was discussed at tech review as well. It's not something they're looking to advertise. It'll be minimal signage. There'll be other improvements include exterior site lighting. There'll be new wall packs installed around the perimeter of the building, as well as an 18-foot high pole light in the parking lot. There'll be a loading dock for deliveries in the front of the building. You know, as you come in off of Hereford Street, a new security system, all of the state-of-the-art requirements that, you know, are required by the Cannabis Commission will be met and have been submitted to the planning department as part of tech review. That's pretty much a quick overview. I'd be happy to take any questions if anyone has any.
Mr. Chair, if I could. Members. Well, I'd commend you on the design. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Did we have any stipulations on the previous grant?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, the city didn't have it.
I'm sorry?
Respectfully, no, they would not.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, sprinkled?
Yes.
Yes, Yes, it will.
I noticed on the plans about the security windows. Security windows usually turn into unable to vent if there's a fire in their windows, meaning they're unbreakable. I don't know if you have to go back to tech review or anything like that, but our fire prevention obviously will have something to say about that, that we're not able to actually take those windows out.
Okay.
So that's just a deep concern of mine from not only the personnel working in the building, but also from my members working in the building, if there was a fire. So we want windows that.
Probably would be, respectfully, at planning board, maybe the next stage.
Sure, and that's, I guess that's what I'm kind of getting at, is this
Yes.
is something
We
that.
had a check review meeting, oh God, about a month or two ago.
In January.
Most of the things were incorporated, but enough to get us to here, but we will
Understood.
be addressing that.
Understood, yeah, I think my fire prevention deputy would have the deep concerns I do, and we've already discussed it.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The original granting was to upgrade the current building that was there.
Correct.
And I remember that was a big consideration in granting this, that was going to kind of clean up an area that was really in disrepair down there. So
Can you put
the
up
original building,
the original?
Yeah.
No. If I may respond, Mr. Chairman. The original approval granted renovation of a portion of the building. Another portion of the building was to remain. It is our opinion, when you look at the improvements to the site and the fact that you'll have a new state-of-the-art building, you're getting a better benefit for this area than you were under the original proposal. Yes, the original proposal was an improvement, but this current proposal is an improvement on that.
okay, so the original cultivation facility that was approved, I think my notes show it was 7,600 square feet.
That's the current
that's
footprint.
The building is in.
That's the new proposal footprint,
The new footprint will be 7,000.
600. The original was 9,000.
The new footprint on Hereford Street was the 7,600 square feet.
That is correct.
That's
The
correct.
current square footage of the factory that was proposed to be used was 10,000 square feet.
Correct.
roughly,
That's right.
So in this modification, the size of the facility is going to move from 10,000 square feet to 23,000 square feet. 22,923?
To provide the 3 stories. 22,009 plus or minus.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand. This is a sizable addition compared to what we originally talked about. And I think when the retail store was put on the corner, the argument was that the grow area would be part and parcel to that store, and it would be used, developed within that current factory, which would upgrade the factory and kind of clean up that whole corner down there. So now this modification that you're calling it is really totally removing the current building, which is 1 and 2 stories high, and replacing it with a 3-story building.
So first off, the existing building is 2 stories, so the 10,000-foot footprint would have an additional square footage for the second floor. So it would be closer to 16,000 in total gross floor area. We looked at, started renovations, they cleared out the facility. It's not structurally sound to handle the renovations that were proposed. And that was the main reason for going back to the drawing board and starting new and trying to come up with a proposal that would benefit both the city and the applicant.
So your presentation tonight is that you currently have zoning board of approval to put this grow facility in on that property, and you're requesting a modification now to change the size of the building to what you're proposing tonight. That's your argument.
So technically, zoning approvals go with the property, not the building, and that's what, I had a meeting with the zoning, the building inspector, and we discussed that, and that's what he recommended coming for a modification.
Can you tell the board how high this new building is going to be?
Look at the rendering.
When you say 3 stories, what is 3 stories? I may have it here, but I might have missed it.
Yeah. 60, 59 feet?
It would be 59 feet, 2 inches to the top of the roof area.
And what does zoning allow there?
It does meet zoning.
It does meet zoning.
It does. I know it meets the zoning, but we have to check.
The height is 60 feet.
60.
So you're allowed 60, and you're going to 59?
2 inches.
Close.
Okay.
We could go higher.
Why I asked.
Yeah, thank you. But I had mentioned it does meet all zoning requirements.
It does.
Including height, I should have emphasized.
All dimensional requirements have been met.
Okay. I guess the concern I had is what we approved before and what we're looking at tonight. It's a pretty substantial modification. And it isn't fixing the old building, it's totally removing everything and putting this new building up. How does this new building play into the 2.5-story wood frame residential building that's on Pleasant Street?
We're providing screenage from that Pleasant Street residential use. We've gone through an A&R process, and it's now on its own lot. They will be completely separate.
So will there be screening between this building and that residential building?
Yes, there will.
Yeah.
I can show you that.
We made
That
sure.
residential building is a use variance that went in there for that.
That's correct.
We have a landscape feature here with 2 rows of plantings and then a planted bioretention area. That will be the screened area between that residential building and the proposed building.
What kind of truck traffic can we expect to go into this facility from Hereford Street?
I'll ask the applicant.
Very limited, maybe a monthly delivery for supplies.
Why don't you come up to the podium?
Identify yourself.
For the record, my name is John Saviano. I'm the cultivator who will be in charge of the facility. And we could anticipate a once or possibly twice a month delivery of supplies, as well as deliveries or pickups of product going to other dispensaries.
So the grow that takes place in this building is going to supply other locations other than the one that's at the corner of Pleasant and Hereford?
Primarily us, but we are going to be a boutique facility. For the size of the structure, there really is not a vast amount of cultivation space. We're not a large, company that's 90 or 100,000 square feet like some of the other facilities that are out there, but we're hoping to be a top shelf option for a handful of other dispensaries throughout the state.
Okay, so we've established the fact that other entities will be using what's being grown in this facility. So I guess my question was, if you're going to be receiving product once or twice a month?
Supplies.
Supplies. Yeah. To make your product, whatever you do, okay, you're going to be receiving. How often would somebody be coming there to take something out of that building?
I think that would be something that we would be orchestrating on our end to comply with whatever the CCC recommends.
Once a week, twice a week?
I think probably once a week is a fair assumption.
And what kind of a vehicle would be coming in there? Would we be looking at trailer trucks trying to maneuver on Hereford Street?
No, sir, it'd be something more like a transit van.
So these are small vehicles that would be coming onto that property?
That's correct.
What do you do for rubbish removal? Do you have a dumpster on this property?
We do. We will
Yes.
propose dumpster location.
Yeah, the dumpster,
It's a proposed dumpster pad, 8x8, and it'll be screened.
does that also service the store on the corner? So there's two dumpster locations there. One's
There's
yours,
an
one's...
interior one for the product waste, and then the exterior one for standard trash.
And the accessibility to get at that is sufficient for a truck to get in off of Hereford Street?
It is. We've run turning studies.
Okay. The reason I'm asking these questions is Hereford Street is a kind of a major thoroughfare street, to be quite honest with you. And on the Traffic Commission, we have prohibited parking on both sides of Hereford Street coming in from Pleasant Street. And it's posted no parking. And it's just discouraging that I've been over there many times keeping an eye on this, and I can't tell you how many times cars are illegally parked on Hereford Street. And it's an enforcement problem, but it's unfortunate that there may be parking behind the building, but customers will just park on Hereford Street. And honestly, when a fire apparatus or emergency vehicle's got to get in that street, which is a key street for the fire department, it makes it almost impossible to make that turn to get into Hereford Street. So that's why my traffic question was of concern. So if the parking lot that's behind the store is sufficient to handle the people that are in the store, it's just a shame that it's not being used. You're saying that you have 4 parking places that's going to service your building, and your building will not have public coming to your building.
No.
That's correct.
It's only going to be employees or people that have business coming to that store.
That's correct.
What happened to the underground drainage system that was originally on Hereford Street? What's happened to that?
So it's not on Hereford Street. We're proposing an on-site underground infiltration system that'll be located under the parking lot. That has not changed.
Well, it has changed because the plans that we originally had showed it under the parking lot on Hereford Street, and now the building is going to be built over that.
It'll be, it's designed in this area. It'll be installed under the parking lot, similar to what it does today. It's designed to receive the runoff from the roof area and infiltrate it into the groundwater. It's also going to have a drainage system that's going to convey, it's been designed to slope towards the bioretention area where runoff will receive pre-treatment before being discharged to the same underground infiltration system for recharge.
Okay, I just want to clarify, the plans that I had showed that.
It was not on Hereford. It was in the parking lot off of Hereford.
That's correct, and
That
that's
is
been
correct.
moved now because the building is going to go there. So now it's in your new parking lot, which would be south of the new building.
But it does the same purpose. I'm not
I know it
understanding
does,
your
but
question.
the location of it.
Yes.
Okay, when I first saw my plans, my concern was the building was going to be built over that.
Oh, no, no.
So now your plans you've relocated that to a different portion of the property.
That is correct. We've addressed all areas. The drainage has been addressed. All utility services have been addressed. Nothing has been forgotten.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from board members? Everybody's good? I'm going to close that portion of the hearing, open it up to public discussion. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition?
All right, to the chairman and to the board, I'm not necessarily here in opposition, but I just wanted to find out.
Please identify yourself to the board again.
Pastor Bishop John A. Bridges, the pastor of 28 Warren Avenue, New Fellowship Christian Outreach and Deliverance Ministries. I guess they're going to be putting your facility, I guess, almost adjacent to our property, the church, and they're going to be right across the street from the Church of God and the building that so you're going to be erecting a new building. That's what it is, right?
That is correct.
Right.
Okay. Now, you have parking and all that?
Yes.
Because the concern that we have is that we have our parking lot there and it's open. And I'm sure people are going to be walking up to get into your store to buy whatever they need to buy. And they're gonna need places to park. And basically, I was hearing you talking about that on the other street. That's the problem. We have people park wherever they find a spot, and they walk in. And so I'm saying that if we have signs on our property, if your car is there illegally, it will be towed. We don't want that.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman?
I'll let you just respond to that, yeah.
This facility is for employees only. There will not be there will be no sale of products from this facility.
This isn't
So
open
there
to
will
the
be
public.
new customers.
Okay, so there'll be nobody going in and out buying.
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to clarify so I know what's what. And then I guess also that they have on here, 93 right, Pleasant Street. You guys want to erect something or sign or something? No? That's what we got here. Let me read it, and then we can go, because I want to make sure I get a good, clear understanding of what's going on. And we're here in the community. It says, position of illegal greens, that's you all guys. Cole, Vanessa, Jean Baptist, 71 Legion Parkway, Brockton, Mass. To seek a modification to an issued use variance and special permit from the provision 27 to 24, 4-3, allowing them to yes, excuse me, ignore. And it always happens. I tell people that it better be Jesus calling me. They always do that. I'm more preaching than they calling me. I guess so now this 93 Pleasant Street. What is the purpose? I mean, I don't.
That is the address of the property.
Currently, we did submit,
Okay, good.
and the chairman, through the
Yeah, you can answer that
very
question.
quickly, just, the address is kind of confusing.
Okay.
I don't blame you for that. That's why we were careful to include the map and parcel, which is always the key in zoning cases, as you know. But right now, it's currently listed as 93R. There could be a change, but it's that area there, behind the store.
Okay,
It is.
that's not
I
a
know
problem.
that's kind of
No,
messy.
but I just wanted to make sure,
That's the
you know.
truth.
Okay.
Can't lie to a pastor.
No, I ain't trying to make sure we all here for the same reason, to help enhance the community and help build up the community. And I've been here, this is going into my 3rd year. And I guess when you guys made the appeal for to the zone, that place there that you're trying to do now for the marijuana thing, I didn't get a reply, notice, or anything. When I did find out about it, all I know is that they'd already said that it was already been approved and rezoned, and they're gonna be putting it there. I knew nothing about it, and I'd been here 2 years. Didn't get a message, didn't get a letter or nothing. So I'm sure it's an oversight. But that's all. I just want to make sure that everything is legit, everything is okay. It sounds good, and I like the new building because it's helping to improve the community. And we want to do the same thing with our church, and we're working with that. So thank you so much, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Is there anyone else that wants to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. Is there any public official that wants to be heard on the issue?
Good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me now? Again, my name is Maria Tavares, Ward 2 City Councilor. Yes, I'm here on the behalf of Vanessa, and I forgot the husband's name, for this favor proof, and I appreciate if you guys do so. Actually, myself, I went there and I kind of tours inside. I was very impressed. And I hope one day you guys go over as well. The way they are so organized and well-maintained. Very impressed, actually. I never saw that before because I know the building for a long time. I deal with that when I was working with the Board of Health. And then overstarted when I find out the way they transform, and it was very amazing. And all the employees is very well-organized. I think you guys should take this in consideration because this is such a great opportunity for the Brockton and, to hire more people and bring more revenue, tax. And the meantime, they have a dream to grow and expand it, which they've been very successful. Even they are so small right now, they just need a little piece to kind of go more. And I hope you guys take this in consideration. I was talking to a lot of people in the neighborhood, like, you know, kind of all over the place, try to kind of understand it better. And a little survey, everybody is so, like, you know, excited and very proud. And again, I wish you guys can stop it by sometime, and I appreciate it if you guys grant this process. And thank you again.
Thank you. This facility is in your ward, correct?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Counselor?
Hello, everyone. So I'm Councilor Rita Mendez, and I am super excited about this new building. And I'm even more excited than having them renovate the old one. So just that will really make that area really needs a new, fresh building there. So I'm excited for that. And I'm also happy that the pastor that was here in opposition, it was addressed due to the parking. There's not going to be an issue for the church or people coming in and parking there. So that was also helpful. But this is really going to generate jobs. It's really going to help this couple that is really working so hard. They're doing a great job there. And I really look forward to see them succeed, but especially see the city of Brockton improve, and especially that area that really needs some upgrades, and I think this is fantastic. I'm super excited, and I really ask for your support tonight, that you vote in favor, especially since you approved it before, but now it's even better. So I'm actually happy about this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other public official? I have a letter that has been sent to the board from Counselor Farwell. Did the board get a copy of the letter?
Yes.
So Counselor Farwell writes, please accept this message as my support for the relief sought by the petitioner as listed on the agenda for April 12th, 2022. Legal Greens LLC has been a model for the retail sale of marijuana and is an exceptionally well-organized business. The petition seeks to allow cultivation in a building to support the retail business. This is important to the petitioner's future success. In the past, I toured Legal Greens LLC and have spoken at length with the owners. I am convinced they will operate a cultivation facility with the same integrity and commitment as currently displayed with their retail establishment. Thank you for your consideration, Councilor at Large Winthrop Farwell. So, with that, if there is no other person, elected official wants to speak, I'm going to close that portion of the hearing. I'm going to now open it up for deliberations from the board.
Mr. Chairman, I obviously can understand your concerns about the traffic. I think the unfortunate part about that is that with the retail side, that ship has already sailed. I think with this new building, with the limited amount of personnel that will be working in it, and what I can see it can do for that neighborhood is tremendous. I had the opportunity to walk around the property and get a look at what's there now versus what will be there, hopefully in the coming future, are obviously night and day. And as we try to revitalize the downtown, being able to take what was once a vibrant mat-making business, which is now no longer there, I think, in my opinion, to bring in such a beautifully built building that can, withstand the test of time and really be a cornerstone for the neighborhood in the way it looks, and people being in that area that are going to work versus doing other maybe not so good things, I think is really, really positive.
I would echo those. I would echo that same thing. I'm impressed with the design. Obviously, the window situation could be worked out, and I certainly understand if you're going to doze the existing structure, you may as well make it the way you want it, and everything kind of conforms to what we're doing, and the architecture actually matches some of our newer buildings in the downtown on Elm Street. So I'm excited about it. I like the project.
Thank you.
I agree. Last year we approved that old tire building that wasn't very appealing to look at. And I think this is major upgrade to the last plans that we approved. I'm in favor for this. I think it'll be an improvement, big improvement.
Yeah, it looks like a worthwhile use to the land, and I think it's, I definitely love that they're adding additional green space. I hope the windows are something that works in the future as you all move forward. Would love to see windows that work. And yeah, I think it's great for the community.
I guess my only comment is I concur with the fire chief's recommendations relative to windows that have got to be able to be open. If there was a fire in that building and it is tightly sealed and the windows cannot be open, you could have another situation like we saw in Worcester, where you have a cold storage building which is totally encapsulated with no windows. So I'm not saying that there should be windows that can be opened up to let the aromas go out of the building. I think there needs to be a discussion between the petitioner and the fire prevention people that something needs to be incorporated in this building that will at least let the firefighters that have to go into this building in case of emergency to go in there safely. So that's beyond what we are talking about tonight, but I think it needs to be said, and I would hope the petitioner hears that. The other thing that I would hope that the petitioner hears us say is that due to the fact that there is illegal parking on Hereford Street, which is negatively impacting traffic trying to turn from Pleasant into Hereford, it would make sense that the owners and operators of that retail store on the corner would let the people coming into that facility know that you cannot park on Hereford Street, either verbally or signs or something where they need to take some ownership of Hereford Street. It wouldn't be good if the police sat up there writing tickets because they're gonna drive everybody away from your business. All I'm saying is there's a potential there for a serious traffic issue problem certain times a day. And I would just hope that what the petitioner is hearing us discuss here is that the city and the police and the traffic commission can use some help from the operators of that store to try to convince the patrons that are going into that store that there is legal parking and it's not where the sign says no parking at any time. I think that's important. I think they need to hear that.
Good point.
I voted against this last time because the ordinance was very specific that these grow facilities are supposed to be located in industrial areas. And the board at the time voted to allow this to go in, and it was to be in conjunction with the store that was on the corner, which became an issue, which now, because of changes in the city ordinance, that problem has kind of resolved itself. On the flip side, you look at what's there right now with that building. That building is a terrible eyesore, and it's been that way for the last 30 years. And I don't mean that to be negative to the owner, but it's not helping that neighborhood at all. So what I'm hearing from the board is it appears as though what they're proposing to do here would be an upgrade of that area. But just keep in mind that the ordinance basically says that this thing is supposed to be located in an industrial area. We granted it, it's there, and what they're asking for us tonight is they're telling us we granted it last time, and they're asking us to make it look better with a bigger building. So I guess the horse is out of the barn, so as to speak, and it is what it is.
Motion to grant?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to grant. Now, I would suggest that we put a couple of stipulations on here that the board encourages the petitioner to address the illegal parking on the street. I think they can help us out there by letting their patrons know that they're not supposed to park there. And let's make sure that the board lets them know that our concern is for the safety of public safety personnel that are going to be in this building, for smoke evacuation and for firefighter safety going in the building. We can leave it at that and let fire prevention handle that situation, but I think it's important that they hear us. So those would be two stipulations that I would suggest that we put on this.
I would agree.
Anything else? Any other stipulations?
Good there.
All right, so we have a motion made and seconded to grant with those stipulations. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Stephen Leanis,
Yes.
Rolando Spinola,
Yes.
James Sweeney,
Yes.
Chief Nardelli,
Yes.
Chairman Galligan.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, 5 yeses, 0 nos.
On behalf of my
Vote is
clients.
5 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The petition is granted.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. We'll attend to those issues. We will.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So I want to thank our alternate for being here tonight and doing a good job. Got your feet wet. The fire chief got his feet wet chairing the meeting.
You got your feet wet.
But with that, I would entertain a motion to, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You're adjourned.